Nice, yeah, I agree. That's what that business is. Call this meeting to order, the Materials Management Planning Commission Committee, excuse me. First off, we have a new member today, Ron Wimple from Tecumseh. Welcome. Thank you. I think we'll go around and introduce each other so he kind of knows who everybody is and why. I'm Dave Pixley. I'm Palmer Township Supervisor, been part of the committee for quite some time.
Dave Stimson.
Please use the mic.
Okay, with Stevens Disposal.
Jim,
Use your mic, Jen. I didn't, I was bad.
As an industry rep. As an industry rep.
Jamie Williams from Anderson Development Company. I handle the hazardous waste and I work with the other local chemical plants in Illinois County.
again, Ron Wimple from Tecumseh. This is day one for me.
Matt Tomaszewski from City of Adrian.
Planning Commission.
You move up here, Jacob.
Jacob Hurt, Region 2 Planning Commission.
Shannon Elliott, Deputy Administrator.
Jim Van Dorn. County Commission.
Casey Johnson, I am the Director of Environmental Health at the Lenawee County Health Department.
You know me, I'm Julie. I'm the solid waste coordinator. Or recycling coordinator or materials management coordinator, whatever we're calling it, that's what I am.
Thanks for everybody for being here. First off, approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
So move.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed the same. Motion passed. Finance report.
I have just started including the budget performance report. This is just your. I do not, but it's up on the screen too. This is just our grant funding. We really haven't spent a lot of grant funding yet, other than our recycling program. And some of my salary is coming out of there. And the big expenditure we'll be talking about today will be our consultant fees. And we've gotten one reimbursement from the state for our Halloween boxes. So we did get some money back, so that was good news. And we put in our second request, which will include our first round of the recycling pilot, and salary and benefits and that sort of thing. So we'll let you know when that money clears and we have that. So it definitely was a slow process in getting the funding back. A lot of paperwork was required, but we now have a person that is our grant person. She seems to answer questions quickly and what questions she can answer quickly. So, but that is where we are on what we've spent so far. We've only spent $2,000 out of our original 60,000. So that we put in for the first round of grants. And we're going to be putting in more requests this month for our second round, including what we didn't put in for our first round as well. So that's the budget. Any questions on that? Okay, next is on to the hauling and recycling reports. We were down at the recycling drop-off center 2 days this month, again, because of repairs that are needed. When both compactors get towards the full, one of them usually shuts down. We did have a very cold day in March where the machinery froze again. So the DOS was down, and our countywide recycling number is missing. R&M did not report this month. I believe that the owner is on vacation, so he did not turn in. He's usually our biggest recycler, so that's why you'll see last year was 581 tons and this year's only 266. It's because he usually does about between 300 and 400 tons, and we don't have that number. So that's why we are down for the month in countywide recycling. But if you look, a lot of the municipalities are up from last month, and February is a shorter month, so nothing major. It's usually a slow month in February, regardless.
But you're up from last year, right? And I wonder if frost law doesn't have something to do with some of that too.
Probably. Also, it was a very cold February. Yeah. And that impacts people recycling because no one wants to go out and spend time at the bins at the drop-off site because of that. Any questions about the hauling numbers or anything? And for my monthly report, the top 2 posts on our social media last month, I took photos at the recycling the little expansion sites and said, what could be done differently? And people commented on, break down your boxes, don't put in plastic bags. One had a pizza box in it. Someone caught that. And those were the 2 most popular posts for the month. So I'll definitely be looking to do that again. It does take, I only have 12 hours a week on my schedule, and it does take quite a lot of time to drive out to the rural spots. So we had talked about maybe once a month going out there and checking on them and getting some photos for social media for that. We did another fluorescent bulb post, and that was very popular. One on starting your own compost pile. We're going to be doing a big compost push now that spring, knock on wood, is coming. We will be talking about gardening and composting quite a bit and getting that in the forefront of people's minds. And then also a post on recipes for leftovers to prevent food waste. We're very popular. Other projects, I had put in a request to Eagle to amend our grant request to help fund a heater replacement at the DOS because it does impact our recycling. And we have not heard back on that one yet. However, we did pull some of the funds from another account that was lower. I think it was our recycling or transportation. So we have the money to pay for it now. So as soon as that budget amendment goes through the Board of Commissioners and the Ways and Means, we will be able to afford the DOS repairs, which are much needed. Because it closes at least a couple days a month because of the compactors sticking. And the household hazardous waste collection will be hosted by Vacher this year, which Jamie is very excited to not having to be doing all the work at Anderson this year. But it is going to be on Saturday, May 9th from 8 a.m. to noon on Sutton Road out there. And I will be out at Stubnitz Environmental Center again. They have kind of a side event for environmental. They bring out an animal performer for the kids, and I'm usually there with a couple other local environmental groups, do composting talks, and last year our refrigerator stickers were the hot item at our table last year on how to reorganize your refrigerator. So I'll be out there again. And our annual scrap tire collection will be Saturday, May 16th from 8 a.m. to noon at the fairgrounds. Dart will also be there collecting styrofoam again. And Green Jack will be collecting like shipping supplies. The kids from Maurice Spears will be helping load tires, but we also need volunteers that day as well, if anyone would like to help out. That's all of my report.
I will be available for that.
You will? Yay. It's a fun day just to talk to people as they go through and recycle. So if anyone wants to be there.
Also, I had a couple of calls this last couple of weeks on what can go to the hazardous waste collection, specifically paint.
Mm.
They were under the impression they couldn't bring latex paint.
They can bring it. It's not technically a hazardous waste, but they will take it.
can bring it.
Yeah.
And does it have to be dried?
Mm.
No.
Okay, that was the two questions I got on that, so.
And they,
Make sure the container's closed when they bring it though.
Be what?
Make sure the containers are closed when they bring them.
Right.
you want to decorate your outfits here?
That it for report?
Mm.
Whole business?
So the update on materials management planning is, we, as I said earlier, when we were talking about finances, we are now able to put in for our round 2 funding. So I believe we can put in for $156,000 this round. And we will be amending our work plan, changing organics because of the pushback we got from Eagle. But that can be done at a different meeting and we can submit that separately. So we can tack this $156,000 onto the request that we already submitted. So we don't need to do a whole new grant application. We can just say this much for consulting, this much for recycling pilot. So that is going to save us a lot of work. That is that. And then the recycling pilots, the Blissfield has contacted me. They would like their recycling dumpster removed because people are illegal dumping around the site. And it's becoming quite a workload for their city employees. So they don't want to participate anymore. We have through April 9th to remove it. They gave me a 30-day notice. I've been trying to get a hold of some other municipalities, like Britain, who we originally wanted to go to, and some of these municipalities aren't, especially this time of year, they're not all meeting or, in their offices. So I did talk to Dave about possibly putting it in Palmyra, so he's gonna bring it before his group, but we may just have to have LRS pull it for now and then find a spot for it. So it's unfortunate because I know it was being used. I know the residents are not going to be happy with that decision. I did try the grocery store in town to see if they may host it, and they don't have a good location. They think it would work. So Blissfield is not going to have the site anymore, unfortunately. And it's not from cross-contamination because we haven't gotten any reports from LRS of it being a problem of things getting dumped in there that shouldn't. It's people leaving, if it's full, they're leaving it outside on the ground, or they're just leaving things that are not recyclable on the ground. I think someone put a whole tree in the hut at one time. So you know, definitely a challenge, but that's not anything we could have, I mean, we did put more signage asking people not to dump on the ground on the dumpsters, but again, this was a concern about not having it monitored 24/7. Yeah, so that's the state of the pilot. So we will let you know if it get moved, if Palmyra wants it, next month. Hopefully we'll have an update on where it is. Any questions on that one? All right, next is the organics goals amendment. This got pushed forward from last month. We, when we first put in our organics pilot to the state, we had the intention of using the 60,000 that was promised in the law to help fund a food collection in perpetuity, as long as that funding was still available from the state. And Eagle pushed back and said that the likelihood of that 60,000 continuing after the 3 years of MMP is kind of low, and that we need to have sustainable funding on that. So because we don't have a landfill to fund an organics program, we're not going to be able to do the full, like, having food service collection bins like we wanted to with the funds. So that being said, we had to amend our goals that we already voted on and sent through. Yeah, they're there. So I highlighted in yellow the things that needed to be changed. Oh, my other notes did not come through on there. I'm sorry. But we need to change to measure the amount. I'm sorry, I did track changes and it did, oh, there it did on there. Sorry, it's not showing up there. Okay, so the reds are the changes I made. So we're gonna increase the amount of organic waste diversion through education and community partnerships. So that way, if we can find community partnerships that do wanna help do it, or if we do have the funds later, that we can do a private-public partnership, that will be, that'll be included, but it's not gonna be a guarantee that we're gonna provide that service for our residents. And we will measure our success by residents having a location or locations to, like, that'll be our goal within 5 years to find somewhere. Like, we're gonna work with the local farms. This Commissioner Van Doren connected me with the agricultural committee. So we're gonna explore that route to try to get some organic drop-offs for our residents, but we're not gonna be able to provide it. So it's gonna definitely have to be through partnership. And if you can scroll down, and then, so because of that, scroll down some more. These are the recommended changes to the pilot. So we do have money set aside in our funds still for organics pilot. So instead of doing the food collections where we're paying for the bins, I recommend we still work with Go Zero, but offer it to some of our local municipalities and organizations that are doing events as like a sub-grant for food waste collection at their events. For like Tecumseh, for Apple Lumpkin, we could give them a grant to have or provide a food waste collection bin at Apple Lumpkin, so residents can throw away their food. And or at the fairgrounds, I think the fair would be a really good event for something like that. And then also offer grant money to our municipalities who already have, we talked about that before, or to farms who already have composting at their facilities, giving them a sub grant to make alterations so that they could also collect food, even in small amounts. Like at Halloween time, can we do pumpkins in with our yard waste or that sort of thing? That would be my recommendation moving forward on our pilot, because we have the money. And I think our municipalities have more power to there's that. And then there are other, I found a website, an app called Peels. Where people can register. Yeah, there's pictures on here. People can register. There are none in Michigan right now. And I think it might be a good idea for our pilot. Maybe we could use some of our advertising money to try to get residents to sign up for this. So people who do composting for their garden or their farm. When I've been out in the community this past year and I've been handing out the composting, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I just take it to my neighbors down the road. So there are people composting, even if they don't have compost in their yard. So it would be great to capture that information, like how many people are composting. Can you take 2 more people? Can you take food waste from 2 more people, then put it on this app, and then someone can drop off their scraps in your driveway every week or whatever. So people that can accept composting would sign up, and then people that are looking for composting can sign up, and it connects people. So we could use our grant money to help promote something like this as well. So I'll leave it up to the floor for recommendations to vote on the changes in the organics goals. We do need a vote on that.
Do we have support?
Second it.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed.
And I don't know if we should, I will bring a new work program forward that will include the changes in the, we will have to vote on that because that'll be an expenditure.
Any other existing business? New business?
I apologize for the 140-page packet. But I wanted to make sure you had everything I had from the consultant. We received 4 proposals for our RFP. Just as a reminder, this is something we budgeted in our work plan to help with some of the more data-driven portions of the MMP. Like, we want to capture every place that collects recyclable materials. And in the background of what places, where people can take their stuff. We don't have a lot of in Lenawee County, so we want to make sure we capture all that information. A very work-heavy project will be getting the municipality approval on this. All of our municipalities have to, once our MMP is written, they have to go through and they have to vote on it all, which having some consultant support who can reach out to these communities, answer their questions, it will be helpful because the entire solid waste department is 1 part-time employee. So having a consultant will be huge with that. And also, I shared at a previous meeting, my big concern with this is that the approval from Eagle on our MMP is at the very end of this whole process. And Eagle has proven that they change their mind on what's good and what isn't quite frequently. And I would hate, because we are a small county with limited resources, I would hate for this to go to our Board of Commissioners, to all of our municipalities, and then go to Eagle for them to reject it and have us to go through all of it again. We do not have the resources to do that. So one of the things we're going to have our consultant do is review our plan and hopefully have those connections with Eagle to be able to say, are we on the right track? What should we change before we take it to the commissioners and the municipalities? We want to get that all taken care of up front. So we received the 4 back. I created a one sheet. Did everyone get the one sheet? Man, I don't know. Just because it is a lot of information. We can vote on this today. However, if you need another month, that's fine. We do have a representative from HDR is here today, Logan. But to go through them all, Fishbeck, came in at the highest amount. They have several locations throughout the country, but they do have locations, in Ann Arbor and Detroit. And they're currently developing plans for Jackson, Saginaw, Kent, and Berry counties. And they're doing a multi-county plan for Grand Traverse, Leelanau, and Benzie County. GT Environmental, they were the lowest when you added up all the fees. However, they were the only, proposal that didn't give a like estimate of total. And there were things that were like, it could be this, depending on this. There was a lot of that in the proposal. So I'm not sure I completely think that 27,000 is accurate on that. Their corporate office is in Columbus, Ohio, and they are developing plans for Clinton, Monroe, and Ingham counties. And they are developing the Michigan Recycling Coalition's Commercial Resource Library. Next is HDR. They came in at about 34,000. They have several locations. There's an office in Ann Arbor, and they are currently developing plans for St. Clair, Oakland, and Livingston counties. I would actually, the last two on this list would be my two recommendations. One thing that I liked about HDR was they were very thorough in their submission. They included copies of their liability insurance, which usually I have to ask for a lot with all of our haulers. So I appreciated that was included, and they included a potential contract that would save us a lot of work that we would just have to review and sign if they were chosen. And I like that they are local to Michigan. And so they are very well versed in what's going on here. And then RRS came in at 53,600. They are located in Ann Arbor. They're also working with Oakland County, and they're providing support for a 5-county group in northern Michigan, which I kind of like because that would include a lot of rural communities, which is what we are. They're also helping with Washtenaw, Emmett County, Eaton County, and they've worked with Michigan Green Communities. And their submission was very well researched into our local efforts here. They researched a lot of what we've done in MMP, and you could tell their submission acknowledged our efforts to develop our own plan and our desire to retain control of the plan. And they are an active member in the Michigan recycling community. They've hosted a lot of conferences and classes, and they are part of the Next Cycle group that provides training for people that want to develop innovation in recycling, like municipalities and also companies that want to start something. They do like a course, and then they are eligible for grant funding. So my recommendation would be between the last two on this group, HDR, RRS. The current work plan has 29,400 budgeted, but we did not budget out into next year on that work plan yet, which we will do in this round. So we have plenty of funds for any of these options. So I will leave it up to you to discuss, or you can review and bring back for next meeting.
Dave?
I mean, there's a representative from one of them here if they want to expand upon what I mean, there's a lot of data you gave us in the packet. Before you even said that, I had already reduced in my mind down to HDR or RRS, and my recollection is RRS is a rather large, like multi-state corporation. I don't know as much about HDR's background, except what was in their submission. I don't know if asking a little bit of additional information about specifics would be appropriate, but I liked what I saw from them, from both a thoroughness, but also from a price point, frankly. If I had to make a choice today, right now, it's HDR, but I want to hear from them since they're here. It's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments or questions?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I'm Logan Appleby. I'm the proposed project manager for the proposal from HDR. I'm relatively new to HDR, so this is my 8th week with the company. But a big reason that I was brought to HDR was to work on these plans, to have a local presence. So prior, I came from the city of Ferndale. There I was a one-person department, did all of the waste and sustainability programs, including sitting on the SACRA board. And so I have a lot of experience in the municipal government and authority and process, municipal authority and county process space. I'm happy to answer any specifics to HDR's proposal. I was very impressed by your county's MMP process. I watched a lot of the meetings and read the minutes. I think what you all are doing is very impressive. I grew up in Clinton County, so that's I would say comparable, much smaller, but comparable space, and very impressed with what you all are doing. And then I would just compare our work at St. Clair County. St. Clair was one of the first counties to start this process with the aggressive timeline, and I would say is very comparable to. So I'm happy to answer specifics if you have questions or whatever you may like.
I guess the two biggest concerns that I have beyond both companies, and no offense to you, both companies looked very capable of doing the job. The biggest question that I've had is that previously, and this is just my longevity, I know I don't look that old, but I am, we've had difficulty getting approval from plans, particularly when we have to go to each and every one of the municipalities to get approval of the plan. Because coordinating that sometimes is difficult because the township might be open on Tuesdays from 2 to 4 once a month.
Yep.
Just the township offices sometimes are spotty with their service because they don't have a need for full-time people. So coordinating all of that, informing all of them, getting to all of their meetings, making sure that they understand what they're being requested of, it takes time and effort. And so just the simple fact that you came out here today suggests that you're committed to that time and effort.
Absolutely. And I would also like to note in our proposal, we included hours for a project coordinator. And that project coordinator is someone who's dedicated to assisting with that process, communications, scheduling. So not just myself as a project manager, but a coordinator to also support all of my work.
So the Ann Arbor office is that maintained full-time?
Yes, we have so HDR is a multinational corporation. We're based out of, our headquarters are in Omaha, but we have a HDR Michigan office. We have Michigan, East Lansing, and we're opening a Detroit office. So this year is scheduled. We have a few hundred employees in Ann Arbor, including myself. That's where I'm based. And we have like 215 plus offices, 14,000 staff around the country, country and world.
Any other questions?
No, I mean, I read the proposals, and so the second piece of my concerns when we were looking at a coordinator was, one, are they gonna come out and physically do the work to talk with all the municipalities, because you have to do that? And two, are they gonna have the skill set and knowledge base and be able to liaison with Eagle to make sure that we're ever changing the winding river of their desires? And so the resources that you already had available, I thought were more than capable of doing that. So I didn't have a question about it, but I think it's appropriate to mention that both you and RRS had those apparent resources to coordinate them.
I will mention our strong working relationship with Eagle. So St. Clair, Oakland, and Livingston counties all have shared the same recycling resource coordinator, whatever they're labeling the position now. Maddie Opperthauser. So I have a strong working relationship with her from those counties and from our past work relationships. So
Maddie is our coordinator as well.
yeah.
Any other questions? Do we want to adopt something today, or
I mean, I had all the information, I read it, and I'm prepared to move forward.
I have two, and I'm happier after hearing from this gentleman and so do I have a motion?
I can make a motion to recommend the HDR Michigan bid.
Second.
Moved and seconded to use HDR. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Any other new business? Public comments? I have one, it's not, doesn't pertain to solid waste except to say that I think Palmyra Township would consider the recycling. We're in the process of probably in the next 2 weeks of starting our brand new fire department building. And I'm afraid that if we have the recycling there until that's done, we'll wind up with a lot of trash from the construction in it. So I will talk to our board about it, and if we can put it possibly at a temporary site until we get the new building up later, probably early fall, we probably can come up with a more permanent spot for it, but that's totally up to our board, not me personally, so. But that was my hesitation with saying we would do it, because I don't want to put it at the new station and have everybody think that those are dumpsters for them to use for trash, so. Any other comments? We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion passed.